Welcome to Training Industry Quarterly Electronic Magazine, Summer 2012 edition podcast of the article Going Local, 6 Ways to Keep Leadership Development Alive by Eyal Yurconi. It wasn't long ago when large conferences, company outings, executive development retreats, dynamic workshops with engaging speakers, coaching and training classes were the order of the day for high potentials. Leadership development was a flourishing field. But then something happened. Seismic economic changes, geopolitical instability, modifications to regulatory oversight, and budgetary reductions have led to massive layoffs and forced leaders and managers on every level to confront a tough, uncertain reality. In this new reality, resources are scarce, yet the pressure to perform and produce results is higher than ever before. After the shock of the financial meltdown, many organizations were forced to cut back and reprioritize. In the name of cost savings, most non-revenue generating initiatives, like leadership development, were put on hold, substantially reduced, and sometimes even decimated. Many organizations eliminated workshops, conferences, guest speaker appearances, and coaching opportunities. Some organizations trimmed down training opportunities, assessments, review cycles, and access to developmental resources. A few organizations have gone as far as erasing leadership development from their organizational culture. What can organizations and individual leaders do today in order to keep the fires of their leadership development initiatives burning and ensure their organizations are not losing potential talent? The answer lies in a concept called local leadership development. Local leadership development simply means that leadership development should be done locally by each and every leader in his immediate work environment. In other words, local leadership development takes the responsibility to develop leaders from the hands of human resource and talent management professionals and spreads it across the organization to each division, department, and team lead. As you will soon see, localized leadership development makes sense on many levels. It is personal, cost-effective, and empowering. Additionally, it has a strong ripple effect that impacts the individual, team, department, division, and organization at large. From Julius Caesar to Jack Welch, great leaders understand that leadership development doesn't happen in a vacuum. It also can't be done in mass production. Potential leaders require context, cultivation, and guidance. They need a strong, caring relationship with their leader as well as encouragement and sympathy. It takes personal attention by a leader to cultivate a leader. The next 6 keys should provide leaders and HR professionals a starting point to practice localized leadership development. Commit to investing time in leadership development. Today's overworked organizations must understand that developing high potentials is a major responsibility for a leader. It requires time. Committing to investing time in deliberate, purposeful actions that are designed to develop high potentials is the first step towards successful localized leadership development. Leaders must be able to invest a few hours a month in the active development of their crews. No excuses. Create an environment that's collaboratively competitive. Leaders grow best in environments that foster collaborative competition. From military and sport academies to the best graduate programs in the nation, high potentials work in small groups that constantly compete. This is not a coincidence. As we mentioned earlier, leaders do not develop in a vacuum. To become effective leaders, high potentials need competition, stimulation, and opportunities to take action without the mortal fear of making mistakes. They also need to know that their team is behind them and will protect them when necessary. Here are a few simple things you, as a leader, can do to make that happen. First, you must be able to consistently communicate to your team their role and impact on the organization. They must know what they are fighting for. This communication will frame the team's operational environment and provide a strong pretext for collaborative action. Next, make the effort to task small teams, not individuals. This will naturally stimulate high potentials to step up and lead. Follow up by infusing a competitive spirit, making teams aware of each other's objectives, deadlines, and expected quality of delivery. Encourage resourcefulness, entrepreneurial spirit, and effective teamwork. Reward acts of solidarity and responsible risk-taking with praise. Finally, extol efforts, not just results. Coach and mentor regularly. When done well, coaching and mentoring are leadership development practices that complement each other and provide high potentials with valuable performance feedback, advice, guidance, and a stronger sense of commitment to the company. In essence, both activities make them better leaders. But coaching and leadership, although invaluable, are not the same. Coaching is a time-restricted, functional relationship that tends to be job or task-focused. It is formal and usually designed to improve job-related performance. Mentoring, on the other hand, is a long-lasting, personal, informal relationship, best done over lunch or in a neutral environment. It is career-focused and tends to build a strong bond between the leader and the high potential that can last a lifetime. Both coaching and mentoring are an acquired skill, although some have a greater propensity to do them well. But regardless of talent, a leader must be able to perform both. In this case, HR can prove to be a valuable asset in providing not only relevant literature, but also samples, simulations, and scripted conversations for analysis that can help leaders refine their abilities to coach and mentor. Develop the team beyond the workplace. One of the most interesting things a leader can focus on is developing his team as a collective entity. While it is important to develop each individual member, the team as a collective is the ultimate performer. When focusing on the team, a leader may discover that some employees are high potentials in disguise and will not blossom in an environment they are uncomfortable in. Others may simply be overshadowed by louder, more boisterous personalities. As a leader, you have the ability to create common, shared experiences for your team that break down barriers, open the communication channels, and create an environment that is conducive to growth. Such experiences should occur outside the work environment, where corporate formality does not apply. Opportunities for shared experiences are all around. You can initiate a hiking trip, go paintballing, or race go-karts, volunteer at a local soup kitchen, enter a road race, or fundraise for a worthy cause. It doesn't take much. Such experiences have a tremendous impact on how team members view one another, how well they know each other, and how comfortable they are in each other's presence. And with increased familiarity among team members, comfort, loyalty, and commitment flourish. Invite a local leader for a talk and Q&A. Communities all around are brimming with amazing people, silent leaders who have achieved great things and have incredible value to share. These are your local volunteer firefighters and EMS personnel, people who overcame a life-threatening disease and lived to tell about it, decorated war veterans, outstanding teachers, local college professors who work tirelessly on groundbreaking research, or the family with 5 adopted children that lives down the block. The list goes on and on. Many local leaders will be more than happy to share their personal experience and their own leadership insights with a small group of people at no charge at all. These engagements can be done over lunch or even during working hours. It's an untapped local resource that can bring tremendous value to your team. These empowering small engagements have been perfected by companies such as Google and Morgan Stanley, who provide their employees with regular learning opportunities from unique individuals. Promote social learning. Social learning is a relatively new concept that relies on user-generated content, discussions, and informal sharing to create online spaces rich in content. When used effectively within the organization, social learning allows individual contributors to take charge and create organic learning spaces that accelerate collaboration and sharing. Today, all organizations have the tools and technologies to enable social learning. Leaders can effectively capitalize on social learning tools such as SharePoint, wikis, and discussion boards to surface a new dilemma, share an insight about a specific event, express an opinion about a book, and promote productive conversations among team members. It is the leader's role to initiate conversations and motivate the team to share and contribute. Conversations can be stimulated via open-ended questions, asking specific team members for feedback, inquiring about solutions to problems, or even ranking various options. Once the conversations begin to roll, the leader can easily identify those who share more, acknowledge their contribution, and at the same time, engage those that have been quiet. Eyal Yurconi, PMP, is a PhD candidate and the founder of Strength Dynamics, a training and performance improvement consultancy. Takeaways. Since the economic meltdown, many organizations put non-revenue generating activities such as leadership development on hold. But unfortunately, the need for effective leaders hasn't diminished. Organizations today, more than ever, need smart, innovative leaders with deep insight and industry knowledge to drive the organizations forward. What can organizations do to keep the practice of leadership development alive? They can go local. Organizations should look to empower individual leaders at every level to develop high potentials in their own immediate local work environments. The benefits can be immense. Local leadership development is personal, cost-effective, and empowering. It builds strong relationships between the leader and his team and creates positive ripple effects throughout the organizations. While there are many things leaders can do to go local, below are 6 that can be implemented with relative ease. Commit to investing time in leadership development. Create an environment that's collaboratively competitive. Coach and mentor regularly. Develop the team beyond the workplace. Invite a local leader for a talk and Q&A. Promote social learning. Sidebar. Identify high potentials. Many organizations miss out on developing potential leaders because they simply fail to identify them. Most organizations highly value things like ambition, motivation to improve, honesty, confidence, self-assurance, flexibility, analytical capability, eagerness to learn, industriousness, cleverness, resourcefulness, integrity, accountability, decisiveness, and fairness, and would like to see high potentials possess them, but they don't take the time to identify them. The next 2 steps will help you, as a leader, identify whether an employee is actually a high potential. List 10 characteristics you consider to be a must for success in a specific role. Define each characteristic. For each identified characteristic, describe a behavior the high potential has performed that equates with the definition you wrote down. Once done with step 1 and 2, you will have a high potential leadership filter. By identifying 10 characteristics, you have focused the requirements for successful leadership in your context and created qualitative measuring criteria, a valuable tool. After completing step 3, you will have a clear view on how an employee measures up against your criteria. A high potential should be able to display behaviors that match your criteria with relative proximity. In case he does not, perhaps he is not a high potential, or not ready to be one yet. You've been listening to Going Local, 6 Ways to Keep Leadership Development Alive by Eyal Yurconi. For more podcasts and articles like this, visit www.trainingindustry.com. Thanks for listening. I'm Roel Gorman.